Hello, welcome to the Productive Wellbeing Show with me, your host for today, Abigail Barnes. And today I am joined by the amazing Charlie Granger. Charlie Granger is a yoga instructor, but she's also a qualified mental health expert. And I'm so excited to have this conversation with her today because we're going to really get into how to create a new routine, what the routines look like. And I'm going to be honest with what's going on for me in creating my new routine. So if you are joining us live, say live. If you are joining on the replay, say replay. If you've got a question, leave a question. I can see you on LinkedIn. I can also see you on Facebook if you give permission to this site for your comments to be seen. What else do I need to tell you? And hopefully you've got a drink and let's go. So, Charlie, let's just talk a little bit about the fact that your classes are a combination of the movement, but they're also sort of mental health, because I've been doing your classes now maybe for the last year, and you always have a theme. So what are you doing before I just kind of turned up and I was like, this is great, I feel better. But what actually behind the scenes are you doing when you are planning these classes? And just tell us a little bit more about how you go about sort of teaching the yoga and helping us.
So yes, I do always have a theme. There's always a focus for a class. And that's mainly because I use yoga just as a medium and a tool to get a bit deeper into our mental health. So we need to look after mental health as much as our physical health. And often we go to a yoga class to maybe work out or to stretch the body, but really we want to get deeper into the mind. And by having that focus, it allows me to pick particular movements, particular breathing exercises, types of language that I might use. And it tricks the brain into a sense of rest and digest instead of fight or flight. So it helps to work on particular issues that we might face, whether that's stress, anxiety, whatever particular time, or maybe even with the seasons that I feel people go through. I try to weave that in so that we're getting that deeper practice.
Amazing. And just so we go there for movement, and because some of this is like what is going on under the surface, so we can't actually see, but what is the class actually doing for us internally?
So lots of different things. As we're switching the breath, as we're holding the breath in, as we're holding breaths on a particular posture, what happens is what we're leaning on in the body is kind of tricking the nerves or maybe pushing or squeezing different parts of the body. And also whether we're inhaling or holding the breath in, it's increasing different levels of oxygen to the brain. So by doing that, we build a deeper resilience and our bodies get more familiar with that type of movement or practice that then gives us strength back in our normal lives when we're not doing yoga to get through lifting or picking something up or a time of stress. Our bodies might be more relaxed from the daily practice that we've just taken, that we're therefore able to cope with it a little bit better. So it's blood flow, it's particular twinges and twists that you're doing in the body and where you're trying to muscle into the deeper connective tissues.
And the interesting thing, I was watching something the other day talking sort of about the blood flow. If we can get the blood flowing to our brain, then this is helping us keep our brain younger, isn't it? So then it keeps our body and our system younger, which is like a double bonus.
Yeah. And I teach yoga to kids a lot of the time, and I use the hand as like a brain. So you've got like these different parts, and this is kind of like the center of the brain and this like memory and amygdala and where we keep this emotion and where we hold stress. And then this is kind of the cortex that sits over the top, and this would be the front of the skull. And there's loads of evidence that shows if we are doing a mindful practice, if we are breathing for a long period of time, if we're taking a walk and doing something mindful, which means focusing on something other than a stressful memory or something in the past, you're actually building the plasticity, so the connections of this area. And the more you do that, the more you reflect, the more you build that resilience in the brain to better cope in stressful situations like we're kind of in now.
Amazing. So this is episode 13. Episode 13. I didn't say that at the start. This is episode 13. And I'm kind of using these numbers to measure where I am and where everybody is on sort of the process of adapting to an entirely new kind of crazy situation that we're all finding ourselves in. And guys, if you're watching, maybe let me know in the comments if I'm not the only one sort of feeling like yesterday and Monday, it's sort of really starting to hit home. Like, this is going on. This is real. This is, the routines are changed. The environment is changed. Everything is changed. What's going on in our brain with all of this? Because it kind of feels like last week we were thinking about this and talking about this, but this week it's almost gone another level deeper. I would describe it as like reality set in. But is this related to like the grief process? What's actually going on for us?
I think it's also going through a process of change. You know, our bodies, some people adapt better to change than others, but also who adapts well to being essentially locked in under an uncertain period of time that no matter what you read, you don't know where you should go, what the symptoms are. So naturally, everybody is in a very heightened state of uncertainty. And so, like you said, it is real. We shouldn't just be, let's do this, you know, I'm feeling great, watch all these motivation things. We kind of need to sit presently with how you feel. And it does suck a bit. And some people might not have the best working from home setup. You might find your body starting to hurt more. You don't know if it's day or night because kind of you're in the same place. And so, yes, it is a period of kind of reality checking. And one of the things I say to my clients is embrace it. So go with the journey and sit with it for a bit. But then at the end of the day or at lunchtime or whenever you take a break, reflect and say, okay, well, what can I do today? Can I take a walk? Should I call somebody? Have I had some connection with somebody else? Have I done some movement? And embrace it, but try to slowly think, what can I do to change?
So I guess like what I heard you say is that it's not wrong to feel like this, and it's understandable. It's what everybody is feeling to a degree, but that we can gradually move to sort of feeling a bit better about it and turning it into a positive by reflecting on maybe like a gratitude exercise of what we do have versus what we don't have.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, turning it into a gratitude exercise, embracing it, but looking at the positives, but also coming back to finding a small routine, even if it's one thing a day or something along those lines to help you find some normality.
So let's talk about routine, but let's first of all talk about like, I don't know about you guys who are joining us, but my bum is really hurting from sitting. I don't have an office chair because I don't remote work. I work from Wi-Fi, which is great, but you know, a long stint of the same kind of thing. So my setup behind the scenes, which I will share, is kind of sellotaped together. But what can we do if we're sort of starting to feel like a little bit stiff, a bit confined?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most people know about the sitting for a long period of time and what it does. I don't want to kind of be here to tell everybody about what it can do, but your hamstrings obviously shorten. It's not good for your back. Your shoulders start to kind of get used to this particular position, and your blood flow starts to slow down, and it's harder to kind of regulate your blood sugar and break down fat. So definitely want to get moving. But also,
often should we be moving? Just remind us, for those people who, you know, maybe they don't know about this, or that we're possibly forgotten because there's so many other things going on right now.
So one of the things that I've actually found personally to help me is, rather than have like how many times I should do it, I remind myself, so if I need to go to the loo or I'm going to go make a coffee, what we tend to do is go make a coffee and then sit down, which is good. But let's say people listening into this stand up. So whenever you're doing something different to the normal working day, think, what could I do? Could I stand up or could I be in a stretch? So they are the little cues, because that will give you about probably a movement every 20 minutes to 45 minutes.
Amazing. Well, that is super useful and something so easy and practical. And then the importance of having a routine. So in previous episodes, we've talked about how to set a basic routine, sort of about rising in the morning, going to bed, what time you're going to eat your lunch, when you're going to finish work, catching up with friends, those kind of things. But I am now starting to find as well myself that I miss our yoga classes, and that I feel in my body that I'm not stretching out those tensions that only yoga can do. So how important is it for us to have a routine, and what should we really be putting into these routines?
It's very important because it allows you to get some time back. It allows your brain a bit of a break, because you're having to build momentum less, and you're not needing to be in this like determined willpower state all of the time. Like, I need to get on today. If you have something in a routine, then obviously that settles that a bit. So that's why it's important. My advice is always to start small. So if you're really used to a routine, then you can, go all in at it. So at what time you get up, what time you're going to have breakfast, lunch, when are you going to do your exercise, when are you going to work, when are you going to speak to a friend? But I think start small. So once a week, what is the one time every week that you're going to maybe do some movement practice, whether that's yoga or exercise? What is the one time once a day that you're going to have lunch? So pick maybe 2 or 3 things that are easy to start with. The other thing is home v office. So even if it means your desk is on boxes and then a chair, find a space in your house where you can work and a space in your house where you can live, because then your brain is able to dissect those 2 things. Sometimes, you might have children running around and your partner, and you have to navigate it. That's normal, but you don't want to constantly be moving around the house, because your brain is going to scramble it up even more. So finding an office and a home space, picking 1 or 2 things that you can do, and then slowly adding to it each week.
And so our daily walk that we're allowed to do, like wherever you're joining from, do whatever your country is recommending right now. But in the UK, we're allowed to do 1 daily walk. This is, I'm guessing, like a good way for us to start to move if we haven't done yoga or big exercise classes before.
Yes, definitely. You don't have to just be, doing yoga or a HIIT exercise, whatever it is that's going on at the moment. I also think getting outside, fresh air, and being in the nature is really important. So ideally you could do both, but do what's accessible to you. So when I built my online yoga schedule, I created a series of things that were accessible. So some for the elderly, some for people that are really fit and want to break a sweat, some for beginners, so that there's something for everyone, and they just pick that time and they can come every single week. And yes, if you're going to take a walk, go outside and try and make it the same time every day.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for these tips. They have been really useful for me, and I hope you guys watching at home and tuning in on the replay or watching live have been able to take away something positive, whether it be that it's okay not to be okay, how to start setting a small routine. Now, as I said, Charlie and I have been doing yoga together for quite a while now. And before all of this, we recorded 8 yoga moves in 8 minutes to help people start to get some kind of movement going. These are still available and free on my website, and I will leave a link to those. And I would highly recommend that you check out what Charlie's doing. So Charlie, where can we find out more about your amazing yoga classes that I will be booking, because now I feel like my brain has some space to go back to it and my body is desperate for it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Very important to pick when it's right for you. You don't just have to jump right in. Maybe you've listened to this today and you think, I want to give it a try, but it might take you 2 more weeks to actually accept and come and join. So that's normal too. How you find out about it is I have a website, which is deeptide.co.uk, and soon there should be a lot of videos on there that you can find, but there'll also be a timetable on there of my online schedule. Also, my email is on there, where I'm letting people sign up via email, and then I send them a link. People then log into that time with that link, super easy, video off if they want it, sound off, and just finding a space to move.
Amazing. And I just want to say one thing that I've really noticed is in this time when we're feeling disconnected, doing a class live with other people is one of the greatest ways to reconnect to others, because it is that feeling of it's not just me, maybe it's just me in my space, but there are other people also doing this at the same time. So I'm a big fan. Obviously, it's great to have videos that you can watch on demand, but I'm a big fan of trying to schedule things and then turn up and do it live with others. But there we go.
I agree. I've had lots of people take the recording afterwards, so I record them and they like to do it again in their own time. But the real power, that real sense of community, has been on the live classes. Everyone can kind of see each other doing it, or they know they're not alone, and it creates this nice sense of it's not just me out there.
Amazing. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for your time today. Guys, it was awesome to hang out with you. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 11. And until then, stay safe, stay well, and don't forget to wash your hands. Thank you.